said, I started to treat it like a business a couple years ago and just learn, and I still learn something new every day, and I'm very happy for that. And it's not easy. It doesn't come easy. Anyway, so I'm here today, and I don't think I'm still the best trader. I find what works for me, and the most important thing is I try to find the most probable setups. That phrase is often used, but a lot of times it's rarely executed. So I try to find the most profitable setups and act upon those. I absolutely love trading. I love being in this business. I feel like I'm a hunter. Before, when I busted my first account, I was more glitz and glam than knowledge. Picture yourself as a hunter out there, headphones on, just walking all around. Now I sit and wait. Hate to use the analogy, but then I'll move in for the kill on my trade. I'm very patient. I rarely buy a breakout trade anymore, especially in this range-bound market. So I wait for them to come to me, and I call myself a hunter in that sense. And then it's up to you as a trader how you approach it as well. Are you trying to get into everything, or do you lie in wait as well? So I more often than not let the trades come to me. Every once in a while I catch myself in a mistake, and then I see it by losing a half hour to an hour by making that mistake, and it's an important reminder. Okay, so let's get back into trading. As far as rooms went, of course I tinkered around in rooms. Stumbled upon LiveTraders about, I think about a year ago maybe. I've been in the room. I was in other rooms, and a lot of them weren't willing to educate you, talk about their trade. Yeah, some of them posted their true P&L, but they weren't really willing to teach you. So I felt I had learned a decent amount, and I wanted to learn more. And I like I said, I don't like to talk a lot of times. I like to listen. So when Jared and Jay and Anmal are constantly hammering time and time and time and time again, it's because they're reiterating the most important knowledge that they've gained. And a lot of times I'll forget something, and all of a sudden Jared or Jay or Anmal will say it, and I'm like, shit, or pardon my language, I'm like, damn, I'm like, I forgot about it. I forgot about it. There's still so much to learn. I forgot. I'm glad they are so rhetorical and just keep repeating themselves at times. So when you're sitting there, nothing to do, you're scanning for trades, take it all in. So, and I love that we have Jeff Yates in here too. I like to see his point of view and perspective. So anyways, LiveTraders, I'm not saying it because I'm in the room. I'm saying it because I'm still here. It's the best trading room I've been in. Anyway, so I just wanted to give them props because it's true. So my morning starts out, I wake up early. I need time to focus. A lot of times I like to go for a jog, but I like to go and get prepped, do my scans. I do all my trade reviews the night before, what I did or didn't do right. And that's just so important. Like the trade doesn't work. Why didn't it work? Go look. Oh, damn, I didn't see that hourly resistance, or I missed this or that, or I'm not using the weekly chart enough. So I always review all my trades and all the trades I didn't take that I was watching. I got to be honest, I rarely use anyone else's trading ideas in names unless they're on my watch list. I stick to my plan. I don't sit up at night and do my scans only to negate all the work I just did to follow somebody else's idea. I'll stick to like a top 10. I've got multiple screens, which I'll get into later. I don't think I'm a better trader for having multiple monitors. It's because I'm not able to decipher all the information at one time, and I like to see these plays play out. So all I got to do is look to my left and right, and there's monitors there, and I could see them play out. But I stick to my plan, and I create my top list, and then I'll have those tickers there, as well as, you know, obviously USO, the VIX, the Qs, the SPY, everything else, because I want to see what they're doing every moment of the day. But I feel prep is just so important to my style of trading. I really like to get into numbers on earnings. I want to know, I know volume and price action is everything, but I want to know why it's moving. So I'll always break down earnings numbers, and I'll always look at PEs. And sometimes you can just throw them out the window. And you guys have heard me talk about it time and time again in gold. I was like, the fundamentals aren't there. They're all trading with PEs like tech startups. I think I've said that 10 times. But you know what? None of that matters at all. People are seeking a safe haven in gold, and they're buying it. So all the research you do might be for nothing. And then you have to fall back to volume and price action, which actually is everything. Like trading platform, I like TC2000. I just can't get rid of it. I learned it. I love it. It's kind of like getting a new cell phone. I don't want to learn how to use something new. I feel this has got all the tools I need. Something might else have one thing and something else might have another, but it's utilized pretty well. I like the pricing. I just don't switch. I know Trade Ideas is good, but I've got streaming scans right off to the right if I want them. I'll just bring a window over real quick. Yeah, here's my hourly and 15-minute. Yeah, this screen sharing is kind of bogging down my RAM a little bit. So I'll have streaming scans, and I can change my scans, whatever scans I want, and then I just leave those off to the right. And if I'm not in a trade and nothing on my watch list is working, I'll resort to scans. But honestly, in my opinion, you know what the best scan is? Your eyes. Your eyes and following your game plan and your watch list. You could look around for other scans for other setups, but you're probably going to miss what you've been staring at all day. I mean, I get following back to scans if what you have created isn't working. So honestly, my eyes are the best scans. So I don't like to deviate from my plan, and I don't like to deviate from my homework that I did the night before. All right, so, and then I use, it's expensive. I fully admit that, but I use equity feed as well, mainly for PR source. Again, I can't get rid of it. It easily pays for itself on a monthly basis. It's like, I think I pay $190 a month for it. Yeah, that's expensive, but I know I easily take one trade from paying for this second platform, which is for informational use only. I don't use this for trading. It's for what's moving, what's popped in the pre-market. It's got endless amounts of filters, and this was the first platform I was on before I switched to TC2000. I can't get rid of it. I easily make up that monthly by not seeing something that I didn't hear on the TV that I saw on here. This is just, I'll just quickly cover this. This is just, that's just streaming news. Yeah, just tons of filters. If you watch my morning videos, you'll see this is what's up there. This is just, set up by what's moving in the pre-market. I like to use it for volume in the pre-market versus this 5-day average, and all these are I just custom did. Short view, sectors, ETF indexes, all that stuff, but you really don't need it. I'm used to it, so I stick with it. Here's my block trade. I rely on this heavily. I love following the big prints. I'm pretty new to the big prints and late prints in terms of, I started following them probably about 3 to 4 months ago, and I'm finding it's very useful, and I'm making money off it. So eBay, look at that block. Oh no, it's a SPY. I thought it was $1 million in eBay. Anyway, so that's always off to the right on another monitor. So those are the platforms I use. Again, that monthly is pretty expensive on equity feed, but I easily make that up by something I didn't see once a month. Candles that I use, I'm just going to go over some one-on-one stuff because I know you're going to see some different candles on my charts that you don't see on other people's charts. Tinker around with them. I always use candlesticks for the daily, and that's just my preference for the daily. I love OHLC, open, high, low, close candles intraday. But a lot of times I've got, let me pull this up over here. This is a screen that I revert to on my right that's got my 3 and 5 minute. And again, gang, sorry, this screen sharing's eating up some of my RAM. It's going slow. But right here, you're going to see Heikin-Ashi candles. I'm not going to get into topic about how to use Heikin-Ashi candles. For people, if you take anything away from Heikin-Ashi candles, go Google or watch a YouTube video on how to use Heikin-Ashi candles. If you take away one thing from Heikin-Ashi candles, take away this. They will keep you in a trade when you are correct. They're a lagging indicator. It's the average of the open, high, low, close candle. And follow the hollows. If you've got a bunch of hollow, here's Apple actually. Here's a perfect example. I'll quickly highlight it and I'm going to keep moving on. If the candles are hollow, you're still in an upward trend. It's when they turn solid and you get two solid candles right here. So if you were an Apple on this, where we have a little TTM actually here, Bollinger Bands, yeah, just snapped inside the Keltner channels, 9 cross a 20, and boom. But this will keep you in the trade. So if you are finding you are exiting too early, you can use the Heikin-Ashi candles to help guide you. Because the rule is you don't get out until, you could get out on an EMA break if you're an EMA trader, or until you see two solids could direct a new change in pattern. Anyways, I'm going to move on from that. I use open, high, low, close on the 5 minute, and then I get rid of all the junk right here so I could just see just the candles, open, high, low, close. I use OHLC, open, high, low, close on my hourly and my 15 minute. It's just so much easier for me to read. All right, moving on. That's just my candles. That's just my preference. Let me just highlight some. I rely on alerts. I'm a technical trader. You see all this junk right here. I could easily look at this and I know exactly what I have set up. So if I have a watch list and I'm looking right here, okay, I'll just double check and make sure nothing was in the way. These are all just custom built that I did. Right over here, green candle is stochastics overbought on the 5 minute. These are all 5 minute indicators. This is stochastics oversold. This is the stochastics RSI below 10. So that one would be below 10 right there. Above average volume, we got a 9 and 20 cross right here on AMBA. It's attempting to on the 5 minute. This 9 and 20, this means the 9's crossing below the 20. Price, I use a 60 EMA on my 5 minute chart. I like it personally. This is price below the VWAP, and this is price above the VWAP. So with one look, I can look right here and say the price is above the VWAP, but it's attempting, the 9 is attempting to cross below the 20, where our stochastics RSI is oversold, and it's oversold on the 5 minute right there. So I kind of know what's going on just by glancing at that if I don't want to look over to my left at all these charts. So that's just kind of to highlight why you see all this stuff. I'm huge on trend lines. I love them. They work for me. They help me see what I'm looking at or pullback areas. So I'm really big on trend lines. And also, if it's a trend line break and it goes below, I typically will try and buy on the trend line, say a lower trend line, and then I'll set my stop just below that. So I could scroll through. I haven't been too active today. I only took one trade today just because I'm supposed to be leaving here shortly after 2 p.m. The wife wants to go run some errands. We got a newborn on the way. So I don't have a ton of trend lines drawn on a day, but if you scroll through these on my average day, wow. I mean, there's just trend line after trend line after trend line. I'll give you a couple examples, like just some easy ones. USO, let's go over here. This is for demonstration purposes only, so I'll just have this right there. Let me change this to a 15 minute. I got no EMAs right here, just so we could see some plain old good charts. Okay, trend lines. This is why they're important. This is USO. This is my hourly. This is my 15 minute. Let's expand this a little bit. With trend lines, it can help you envision it, and this is why I use OHLC charts, because with candles, I just don't see it lined up as easy as I do OHLC. This is so plain as day right here. So if you're a swing trader, This is where the trend started. I didn't take notation of it until it got to about there. It already had that bounce, and then we started to get in between these trend lines. It tapped it again, and then all you do is extend this trend line. Now, this lower trend line has not been set yet because technically when I'm right there, this candle hasn't been formed yet. So you wait for this candle, and boom, now you've got your lower trend. Now look at right here. I think this might have been at the open. My charts typically include pre-market, so it should show the wick from the pre-market. It violated that upper trend line, but look at it, came back to it. So right here is when I finally have a clear picture of what's going on in USO on the hourly chart. I don't trade in between these trend lines. I said I'm patient and I wait for them to come to me, wait for the price to come to you. So right now, here's basically your sell. We're in a downward trend in oil on the hourly. I wouldn't buy right here. Yeah, you got a pivot right there. You wait for it. And then right here is where you can attempt to try to go long. But also, look at the same time. We could have a new trend taking place there. So let me just highlight that again. Here's where I started the upper trend line. And you could try to trade off this, say go short here. But remember, this trend line has not been formed yet, but the upper one already has. So if it doesn't break this, you can go short oil. And then look at this hourly. I mean, this is just swing trading textbook on the hourly 101 right there. So that's why I follow trend lines. And you don't have, I do it on the hourly, but I also like it intraday. Even on the 1 minute, I'll draw trend lines. Wedges. Wedges are very important to me in Apex. You'll always hear me talking about them. Yesterday I took a trade, what was it, Netflix I think it was? Yeah, Netflix. Let's go to Netflix. So for me, again, I'm a pullback trader. Let me get these EMAs out of the way for you. I'm a pullback trader, and I saw this wedge in Netflix yesterday. Why isn't it showing up here? Oh, no, it's still on the hourly. Sorry about that. So I noticed this apex forming right there. The apex is right there. It's the tip of the triangle. So yesterday, I had pointed out, I think I talked about it in pre-market. Where were we? We were right here. So I saw this, and this is one of my favorite setups. When you have this gap between the apex, you have room to move. When you're at the apex right there, that's when it's dangerous if you short or go long at the apex, because you can have it fail or you can have it go higher. So great if it goes higher, but I don't typically play right at the apex. So right here, what did we have? We had the open. Then it came all the way back, and I posted my entry. It was actually right at that support 1 on that pivot right there. It was 95.23. Exited some, I think, right at the VWAP, and then sold most at or near this upper apex. And what did it do? It broke it. So then you're thinking it's going to go higher, but it came back only to test the apex and then fail right there. And then we're through it, and then it's higher. But I'll play the range in the apex, and it's one of my favorite setups. It's very easy for me to read, and I really enjoy it. So that's one setup I like. Here's your 15-minute on that. Trying to find some. Okay, Monsanto was another apex play. So let's just go to another name so you can see an entirely another name right here. Here, I saw this one late. Here's the 15-minute chart. I saw this one late, and I drew these later, and I was a little disappointed in myself that I didn't catch it. Teeny little apex on the 15-minute and the hourly. So your buy would have been right around there or right there, and then it broke. I apologize. I noticed this afterwards, and when it was through the apex, that was confirmation that it was headed higher. I was thinking it was a day trade. No, I caught it afterwards, and I drew the apex later, so I apologize. So this is an example of, you could look at these wicks on the 15-minute right there. 101.14 was basically your buy. And if you're out of the apex and you're above the 15-minute, and look, it just went up and up and up. So that would have been a nice play. Trying to think of some other examples, some apex. Anyway, you guys get the gist of apex. Let me hit another example in a trend line. I was watching, whoops, wrong ticker, Twilio today. Here's an example of where I'm not going to try and play the trend line. Twilio was making higher highs. Look right here on the hourly. You typically want to short on that hourly candle. And yeah, it's not exact science. Like, here's an example. I don't know, maybe that was at the open, but it broke out above that. So you might have got stopped out. But here's an example. Here's the carryover. Let me get rid of these EMAs. Here's the carryover of the hourly. Right there, that's that line right there. So I like to typically try a short there if I think a stock could be overextended. Here's the morning action in Twilio, though. Look at the 5-minute. It was just kind of hugging this 9 EMA, and this 41.89. Oh yeah, that's over here for that HOD right there. It was hugging the 9. Oh, that's yesterday. I apologize. I was like, this doesn't look correct. That was yesterday. My apologies. I forgot I'm on a 5-minute. It was hugging the 9 EMA, and I thought if I shorted right there, I was going to get stopped or it could get break out. Because what the thesis on shorting on the upper trend line on the hourly is you want it to be right here, and then all of a sudden have a huge giant pop right there. Hit that trend line. I'll short that. I'll try it. And then with my stop about 15, 20 cents above, because you want that to fail. Well, it depends on the spread. Twilio has a little bit of a spread, so I'm at it set above 30 cents. But it was consolidating the whole time. This is the 1 minute, and then here's the 5-minute on a move higher. So I'm not going to short that trend line, and I would have got stopped right there. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that, the difference of buying and shorting on the trend line. It's when they're consolidating and just grinding higher and you've got rising EMAs, that's very dangerous to short right there. And I didn't. And yeah, technically the idea would have worked if I would have gave it a wider stop. But that's just not my play. I don't do that. If it was trading down here around 43 and then all of a sudden had a $1.50 spike or whatever it is up to that upper trend line on, say, no PR or a fudge PR or something or an upgrade, I'll short that pretty much every time and try it for a scalp and then just try it with about a half-hour stop loss. So I just wanted to highlight the difference. Let's go over, I'll just might as well talk about some more trend lines real quick, and I'll keep on moving on. This was just, none of this, this is just what I came up with last night and just some names that I was watching. Let me think, here's a trend line right here. Just reading on Mall, a good rule to short at the top of the upper trend line and channel is okay for looking for, yeah, exactly, I agree. KKR was just on watch on trend line right there. Here's your hourly trend line. It was on watch. I didn't take the position. Else based on trend line, shorting the pop to a down trend is easier. Agree, my friend. Okay, actually, in AMD, here's a perfect example of, I was just highlighting, talking about shorting on the lower part of the apex. Sorry, that's a 5. Let me get you to a 15. Okay, so we've got an apex formed here. But look, we've got lower highs, and it's trying to attempt to make lower lows. And so you see this right here. This is what I'm talking about, the apex. It's the top of the triangle. I'm not going short right there. It's just on watch. Say you shorted there, you shorted the exact low, basically, maybe by 2 cents, only to have it go higher. So when I talk about these plays, I'll look to see if I can find a pattern right there and see what that pattern is. In this case, it would be an apex pattern. You know, it's not really a wedge. You could draw a line right there if that wick wasn't as high, and you can call that a wedge pattern. So say we negate, I'll just delete this. I don't need this. Here we go. This is technically a wedge pattern if it was a little bit sharper. So I'll look for patterns like this, and I'll try to take my best guess, my best probable cause of, or pardon me, the outcome of what it's going to do based upon these trend lines. So trend lines are just so important to me. I'm going to try and find some other good ones. Again, here you see tons of them. I was looking for a top in AXP. Actually, I shorted a little bit yesterday. It was so boring. I got stopped out 3/4 for even money, and I made like a whopping 10 cents in the other one, but it was still worth a shot to me to see if it violated a trend line. So here was the upper trend line, or descending trend line right there, broke. And then now I'm trying to spot a new high. I was browsing at this because all these were at its 50 EMAs right there on its daily. Sorry for all these EMAs and fib lines. I use them all. I can't trade without them. I could, but I don't want to. I'm trying to think of some other good examples. I just want to show you a couple more examples of some good trend lines. Here's COF. I like spaghetti. Exactly. Steven, glad you're liking it, bud. So all these are not really plays unless I see it come to me. That's why I'm very, very patient these days. Okay, here's one of an example, Verizon. Look at these trend lines right here. There was a day over here. This thing just kept rocking up. And I also want to highlight after I highlight this, the power of the Heikin-Ashi candle for a long-term hold, which I got over here on my daily. I'll show you. Okay, so here we've got this going up, and Verizon just caught my eye, and I'm like, this thing just keeps going up and up and up. I want to spot a top. And I can't remember if I caught this one because it was T was doing the same thing, AT&T, and there was another name, and I was watching them all. I remember I caught one of them, but I don't remember which one. So T was the same thing. Okay, so let's go back to this one, though. Let's go back to Verizon. Here you had a high. Here it almost touched that hourly high. Oh, actually, I think I moved the trend channel. I'm sorry. Let's move this back. I don't know how this got changed. Right there. Okay, here we go. Here's the trend channel on the hourly. It's in an upward trend. I didn't even extend this one lower. Technically, this one should be extended lower right here, but none of these candles hit it. So basically, it was never a sell or a short because it wouldn't have ever. I'll just extend it instead. Keep talking. It never. You always. For me, I always play the tops and the bottom right near the candles. So okay, right here you got a high. Right here you got a higher high. Right here you got a higher high. And then what did it do? It came down here to test these lower candles, only to go higher. And I'm like, this thing's got to get back soon. And actually, this one, I think it was on this day, it had a giant print of like, it had a block trade of like 2 million shares. And I'm like, here's the top. I think it was Verizon that I caught. And I caught a short in it. Once it violated, it went above this trend channel right there, but then it violated it. And it went down. And then here's the lower channel. And it actually caught my eye the other day. I was posting my watch list because we had a teeny little wedge pattern right there. You always see this blinking because I always set price alerts. WBA, talk about a name I missed today. It was on my watch list if you watched the video, but I'll go over that later. Heikin-Ashi candles, say you're a swing trader. NVIDIA is another good example. Let's go over here so we can get rid of all these EMAs. So all you do is you can see the Heikin-Ashi. Bear with me, I apologize. Let's get rid of this. I was trying to go over some new things. This is OHLC. Let's change this to chart properties. Go to, what is it? Oh yeah, right here, OHLC. We'll go to Heikin-Ashi. Okay. Boom. And remember that rule. Same rule on all time. Okay. Boom. And remember that rule. Same rule on all time frames for Heikin-Ashi candles. There could be a change in direction on after two solid candles. So right here, for example, you had two solid candles, and then this is still a solid candle, even though it's not red. So that rule still held in play, and it was heading lower. Now the same rule goes for when it goes up. So say you started to swing down here, or say you caught it right here. This would have been a good area because not everyone catch the bottom. Right here. So you're in right here. You got a teeny little wedge. I don't know what the EMAs were. Now you're in here. Where do you sell? You would never have got stopped out of this the whole time if you used the Heikin-Ashi rule. Here, you would have been like, oh, damn. Did we just possibly make a new higher high or a lower high right there? It hit it right there. We're going to change the direction. Nope. Tomorrow. Next trading day, just confirmed it's still in an uptrend. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Boom, uh-oh. And that was on that big print day. And here we had a small change in direction. NVIDIA. People kept trying to guess the top in this one. I was one of them. I fully admit it. After all these candles, I think I was trying to short down here in the 44s for some day trades. I don't think I had one good short trade in NVIDIA. It's horrible. It's on the do not touch list right now. But here's another example. So here, you would have wrote it up here, had that earnings. Oh, and Heikinashi is not going to show a gap. It'll just show an extension. So right there was the gap. And I don't recall if I covered it, but Heikinashi candles, all the Heikinashi candle is, it's a lagging candle because it takes the average of the open, high, low, close. It takes the average volume and it stretches it or declines it, but it'll show the appropriate candle for how wide that action was. So that's why I love Heikinashi candles. Anyway, so yeah, to get back to trend channels, you could use them on the 1 minute if you want ultra short term. Here was the confirmation of NVIDIA actually going higher on the hourly right there. Gapped and it was just off to the races. Let me try and find, I'm only going to keep continuing on trend channels because they're so important to me, so I kind of want to highlight it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything good I got for you guys on today's watch list with some great trend channels. No, Visa, no. Oh, TXN, and here's another one. Okay, I tried to guess the top here. It was on yesterday, the day before, that's watch list. I'm like, this might be a pretty good short. But then it gapped above, and I actually didn't even play it. I didn't take the short because it stayed above that trend channel. And then here is the strength. Here's what you got to get used to. So now that it's well above this trend channel, look at, you may have a new trend channel forming, an upper trend line. Now you're going to have to start lining these up. This may be the top of the new one, but you never know. You got to keep extending them. George, sorry, I keep forgetting to browse up. George Meadows, I use dots on close to keep me in trades. What do you mean dot on close, George? I'll just wait for you to type it. George, yeah, I just don't understand what you mean. I use dot on close to keep me in trades. Anyways, I'll keep highlighting. So your trend channels can change, and you better be ready for them. Like USO, remember I covered that. Those trend channels. It could be forming new trend channels. Let's see here. Yeah, T was the other one. I'm not going to sit here for an hour and talk about trend channels, but I kind of wanted to find some good examples. And this lower one isn't perfect on T, so that can kind of be negated. Here would be a more important one. You see that line going up there, and then it caught that bounce right there off it. But T, AT&T did the same thing. So, and I kind of want to highlight, when you have perfect trend channels, do not, if you're a channel trend trader, say that 10 times fast. If you're a channel trend trader, do not go short or long in between the channels. And if you're scalping, I'll try and find some good examples with some trend channels intraday. If you're scalping, say you want to buy, or even if you're going long, sell on the upper, pretend this is a 1 minute chart, and you bought down here in the lower channel, sell as it gets near that channel in case it doesn't touch it. But don't sell in between unless you're seeing like major resistance on a 15-minute or hourly. Follow the channel trend until it proves you wrong. Okay, George says the dot will show high, low, just close. Okay. Yeah, maybe there's something else. I've only seen Heikinashi, candlestick, line. Oh, wait, no, I think I have seen dot. Never mind, okay. Now let's go for intraday trading. I wish I had some better examples of something. Let me look off to the right of something that was kind of easy to spot. Apple, yeah, not the best because it's kind of ripped up for this name. But when you're in this name, use multiple time frames. Like I said, I showed you my charts right off to my right. I've got up above, hourly and 15-minute. Right below that, I've got my 3 and 5 minute, and right here I have my 1 minute, my daily, and then 2 minutes right there. I don't use all these time frames all the time, but at one quick look, I can look to see what the heck is going on. So all right, let's try and draw some channel trends right here. I thought this was a blank one. Let me change this to 2 minutes. It's easy to read. I still got VWAP and stuff on here. Anyways. Oh, and VWAP, I don't use anchored VWAP. I've heard it discussed many times in here. I don't like anchored VWAP. Why? Because it's anchored for, if memory serves me correctly, it's anchored for the day for that time frame. I want to see moving VWAPs. I want to know what it's doing intraday. So it could be rising or lowering. Anmol hammers away. Does it have a rising or lowering VWAP or falling VWAP? And are they rising EMAs or are they declining EMAs? Jared, I see red dot a lot. That's why I need to handcuffs. Anyway, so okay. Here with this trend channel, it already got violated right there. So there you would have, because look at right here, you would have been guessing the top. But when I take a trade, say I caught it on the VWAP bounce or anticipation VWAP break, and you got this. I wasn't in this trade. I'm just trying to use this for example. I'll use this and try and line these up. Technically, this is not really a good example because this violated it already according to my trend channels. So I would have been selling right up here, and then it would have that pop. And then it would have lowered right there, and then I would have to start doing new trend lines. And I actually don't really see a super, super clean one besides if you could picture it right up there. So that would be the new trend channel. Let me try and find another better example of just how I scale out. Let me go over today's trade. I only have one trade. It was COF at the open. It's not a really trend channel. I based this trade on a Fibonacci number. It was the 61.8 and it was 90 or 68.32. I shorted at, or 69.32. I shorted at 69.26 or 28 earlier this morning. And covered for about 0.75% profit or about 1.25 R, I think I had it. Because if it violated this Fibonacci line, I'm trying to see the time frames right here. This was early this morning, right at the open, so I'm trying to think. I don't recall what my stop was. I think it was right above these topping tails right here. 69.73. I think I had about a 20-cent stop in case my thesis was incorrect, but I don't want to get too much on Fibonacci. I was also looking at AXP right at the open. Sorry about that, 2 o'clock alarm. Here you could see what would be a little bit of an inverse wedge right there on a channel trend line, but it's not really clean. I gotta stop jumping around so much. I apologize. Let me try and find. I'll make a video on something really good that's got clean channel trends on how you could use the channel for your buy and sell all day. Like say this was in an upward trend or even a downward trend, you'll short at the upper channel and cover at the lower channel if you're a scalper. I'm not really seeing anything. Nothing's really, I'm trying to think what went up really, really cleanly today and kept going up besides Apple. Okay, here you go. Skyworks. Okay, here we got one. Okay, this lower channel right there, boom. Not super, super clean, but sorry. Computer's kind of lagging. Okay, so here's where I found a little support, and it's been going up ever since. Here's your upper channel right here. Here's where you could use these channels, especially if a market's in range. Here's where you could use your channels for possible entry and exit points. So say the market's in range, and I really only trade like this when the market's in range. I'll look for something, and today I haven't found any clean examples of channel trends where you can kind of scalp these all day. But here you can see, here's the upper channel, sell. You don't touch it in the middle channel. You do not touch. So if you're already short, great. And then you would cover, this is what I was getting to, you cover a couple pennies above that trend line in case it doesn't actually hit it. And then now that's, but this actually wouldn't have been able to be formed until you see it hit right here. So actually the play wouldn't have been until right there. And you could play it on the upwards. And then it didn't quite hit it, so you shouldn't get out yet. But if you want to take profits, you can right there. And then boom, hit that trend line. So then boom, you're going to get out. You can go short if you want it. But I promise you guys, I'll find some great examples of how sometimes I think I've got some saved charts somewhere of where a stock just had these channel trends and I played them all day just throughout the day. And sometimes it was times where I've had 3 or 4. But you start to draw the channel trend and you just keep extending it. And then look at it. It's broken now. It could be a descending pattern right there. A teeny little one. Who knows? Or it could be a wedge. I don't know. Anyways, let me go over some other things. Big prints. General rule of thumb on big prints and late prints. I have taken a couple of these for a really big gain. I'll set my stop right below the big print. You've got to give it some wiggle room. And I'm kind of getting not really off topic of what, I'm getting off topic a little bit of what's typically discussed about in the trading room. I'll follow the dark pool, and I could follow prints right here. Time and sales history, here we go right here. So I could actually see, here's one. Okay, here's DE. Here's a great example. Okay, let me go over the general rule. You've got to give it a little wiggle room to where the big print was at. So if it printed right here, 84.59, that's a late print. Look at the tick below is 84.43, and the tick above is 84.43. And that big print was 84.59. So that's a late print. The tick below is lower. The tick above is lower. So that's a late print. That's the dark pool spitting out 229,000 shares late. The general rule is you're bullish above, bearish below, but you got to give it some wiggle room. So if a print printed out at 22.10 and it went up to 22.20 but came back to 22.10, it doesn't mean you sell. You do it until the print is violated. And I would give it, okay, let's use this example, 22.10, I would probably give it about 15 cents would be my stop. So if it went to, what's that math, 21.95, that would be my stop. Because the stock could come back down by, say, 10 cents below that big print and then go back up, only to go higher. So you'll trade on that until the rule is violated. So let's use DE. And also, if my general rule, and this is what I've found, this isn't stuff I've learned, or it's from my own, I use it on Google Sheets. I'll export right here. Where was the export button? Sorry, I just got off track. Right here. Oh, no, it's a save setting. Anyways, there's an export button. I haven't really been exporting it because I'm kind of done with my study. And I would export it, and I would review all these late prints and big prints at the end of the day, and I would look to see what it did. And what I found through my studies through the course of a couple months is if a stock prints a late print and the price is currently below that print, so we'll use DE for example, because I mentioned this actually to the room, but I didn't take the trade. Here was that it printed right around where that upper trend channel was, and it spit out this late print. So as long as it didn't go above by about 20 cents, it's going to be onto the short side. Because the rule of thumb, what I found, if a stock is trading, I'm getting mixed up here, I apologize. Not mixed up, but I'm losing my train of thought. I'm stuttering basically, sorry. That late print came at 84.59 was the printed price. But the price was trading currently below that. So what I found through my studies, just through probability of going through them all, If it spits out a late print, a higher price, and the price is currently below that, a lot of times it's going to go lower. And look what it did. So right away I saw that channel, but I actually didn't take the trade because I didn't like the setup really as much. Actually, it was pretty good, and it went lower. Now here's on the reverse end, if a stock is trading, we'll throw out a number right there. We'll say something's trading at 77.20, and then all of a sudden, right at that second, it spits out a late print at 77. I know 77 is a good earmark. It's a pretty safe bet. So if I can get a pullback to 77, I'm probably going to try it. So meaning, if it spits out a lower price print than it's currently trading, it's typically bullish from what I've found. So that's my take on late prints and how I trade some of them. Let's go over a couple late prints today. Okay, here's some examples of, here's one that did nothing. There's a million block trade right there printed at 1074. And actually, you know, you can get a percent out of this, but I just really didn't see the setup in AA. And I could cover all these, like the setup in AA. And I could cover all these, like right there is the print. AA, oh, and then it had that was right at the open. It's going to spit a bunch of big prints out at the open. But there was that million block trade at 1074. So somebody bought a 500,000, somebody sold a 500,000. Caesar, I actually was a little bit greedy with this one. Here it was right here. And one of my favorite block trade or big print or late print setups is when a stock pulls back pretty far, and then all of a sudden it spits a late print. And I had a trade in EPD yesterday. It was a scalp. I didn't let it mature, and it only went higher. So it was my bad on that. But those are my favorite big block trades, when it spits out this big print and it's trading right there. I'm hammering that like no tomorrow. I actually got a little greedy with Caesar, and I had my order in. It printed at 680, and here we had this pullback right here. And then what I'll do is I'll look off to the right and see its average daily range. I don't have it right here. I've actually got it off to the right over here on my big block monitor on my TC2000. So you're bullish above, bearish below. I got a little greedy. I didn't take it, but you could use 680 as your guide. So what I'll do is I'll buy it if it goes up. And this is what I'm talking about, your general rule of thumb. Just because it went below that printed price does not mean it's bearish. You've got to give it a little wiggle room. So I actually got greedy. I didn't get filled on it. And then, okay, let's just go right from 680. What would your percentage gain be? If you held it. You could have scalped some out. We're already, I mean, it's only, this is not the best example because it's such a low price stock. It's not going to rip up. But you're at, right there is 1 in 3/8% on a 9-cent move. And then on the 5-minute, all it did was consolidate a little higher. Here's one that I missed yesterday on a big print, MOS. It's hard to keep up with everything. Where was the big print? I think we had a couple yesterday morning, and then we had some big ones right there. And it was right around the VWAP and just kept going up and up and up. So that's, I just want to highlight the strength of following where big money goes. That's why I like to follow the big prints. Let me see if there were some other ones. MET from earlier today. You can't really see them cleanly here, but MET, so you're bullish above the print, and it spit out a couple big late prints. It didn't rip, but it had a nice move up. Yeah, that was that first one that caught my eye. Or no, right here, the 12. And you got some late prints or big prints right there. Look at that print in McDonald's, 1.1 million at 123.80. Didn't really do too much after that, but you use that as a guide. Right there. You're bullish above, bearish below. MCD I just let pass because on a 5-minute, this isn't one of my favorite setups. A lot of times you'll see a big print and it'll do nothing off that print. Actually, this was right near the EMAs. I think I just saw this one late. WCC, I called out lots of prints hitting right there. And WCC, look at this daily volume. It's only got 1.8 million traded so far. And let's look at these prints. When you get basically what would have been at that time about 70 to 80% of the entire volume for the day, it's WFC, WCC, there's all those big prints. That's roughly 1.4 million. So about 80 to 85% of its volume occurred right there. It's gonna catch my attention. I actually didn't take the trade though. It's so easy to say and then not take the trade. I don't recall what I was in or was looking at, or maybe it was because it's below the VWAP. But anyway, so you use those printed prices as a guide. What else have I got on my list to chat about? I think I'm elaborating too much, gang. I'm sorry if I'm boring you. Oh, my R at the open, in case anybody's curious, my R at the open is 250. During the day is 150 on trades, but that can change at any time. It all depends on what kind of market it is. Some of my scalps, I'll give like a $75 stop. These days, I'm finding I trade much, much less with much better results, so I'm not as active as I used to be. I obviously don't trade penny stocks. I only trade high dollar stocks. I still find it difficult to manage more than three to four day trades at one time. I guess because I'm so particular about hitting highs and lows. I don't chase these giant drops. You'll rarely see me take those trades. Does anybody have any questions? I just realized I was sitting there chatting away. Does anybody have any questions for me? I like 1, 2, 3 setups, apex formations, trend channels are my most important channels that I follow. Basically, my most important guide that I follow are my trend channels. I rely on them. I can't trade without them. And I use all this other noise, all this other information just as a guide. I just browse. Oh yeah, one more note. Look at, okay, here we go. Here's a perfect example. One more note as, do you time your trades with the market? Yeah, definitely. And you know what, I've got this set for like 2 years. I think it's the max on TC2000. Where are we at? Let me expand this so it's a little larger. I've got alerts set because I use technicals. So when the stochastics are oversold on the 5-minute, it'll catch my interest. Have we not had a SPY? Or I've got Qs and the SPY set to send me an alert every time the stochastics are oversold on the 5-minute and every time they're overbought on the 5-minute. And then if I'm looking at a particular name, I'll gauge that on whether the market is just, shortly oversold or not. There we go. Here's one that just crossed. The SPY. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It was right there. I'm going to scroll. Oh, right there. 215.02. SPY has alert stochastics overbought on the 5-minute. So I'm not going to chase a breakout, or I might start to scale if I'm in an intraday trade. So yes, one more note. I definitely can time my trades with the market. I definitely 100% will do that. As trader, so once you see the late print, then you wait for a technical setup to complement it, or do you use late prints almost as a strategy itself? You're right on both notes, as trader. I definitely will use the late print. You can call it a technical indicator. It's where volume came in. It's where somebody just made a big bet. Money was exchanged. Shares were exchanged, pardon me. And I'll use that as a guide. And look at this WDC. I like a lot of times when you get a big print, and this is an example, big print and late print. These were legit prints too, by the way. These all hit right at the numbers. I like when the 9 crosses above the 20, right when those prints hit. And look what it did right there. I just didn't take the trade. I was trying to prep some notes for you guys because I was just realized I was like, you're coming in this kind of unprepared. What are you going to talk about, Chris? So I started to make notes during lunchtime. But yeah, that WDC right there with that volume, it was or WCC is a little bit slower, and then it just came up. And then you use that as a guide. So those big prints came in at, I think it was 54.25, 54.27, and 54.29 were the prints. Just use the median as a guide, and then set your stop about, it's a $50 stock, so set it about 20 cents below that. And then if it proves you correct, look at it just kind of grind up. So one more note. Thanks. Nice talk, Chris. Good. Trying to think what else there is to talk about. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely use, basically I love it as an indicator. I use the big print as an indicator. I'm trying to see if there was any other good examples on some big prints today. Sometimes they'll have a giant print and they'll do nothing. It won't do anything. Here's an example of one that didn't work. Disney had a big print earlier. That was a so-so print, actually. I think it was 250,000 shares. Here it is right here. See that volume tick right there? Printed price was 101.50 if memory serves me correctly. Bullish above, bearish below. 101, or no, 150. I said 101.50. 150. Price was currently below the VWAP. Where are we at right there? Now you'd be eyeing for it to go long. So if you use that printed price, it went up a little bit, and then look at it just trail all the way back down. So somebody was selling right there after that. So sometimes they're not perfect. I like a really quick, clean setup. EPD from yesterday. Again, these are my favorite ones when I see a big print after a big sell-off. I think the ticks were, I can't remember EPD where it was. I thought the open might have came in right there, but I could have sworn the tick was bigger than that. I'll make some other good videos on my favorite setups on late prints, and I'll try to post them to the room. I try to do a lot though, so sometimes I don't really have time. And then I'll just use those as a guide. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to highlight. My wife hasn't called, so I don't think she wants to go run errands. Normally I never leave during the day, but she said she wanted help. We've got a little baby boy on the way here in like a week or two, too. Talked about my R. I talked about my history, my background. Just going over my notes right here. See if I missed anything. I like to listen a lot. One more point, and I saw somebody post a question. One takeaway, gang. We got a great room here. One thing I'm finding, and I'm not passing judgment. I try to teach whenever I can. I notice a lot of people will post a certain stock on a range day right at the breakout. The most important thing to take from a range day is just that. It's in range. So if the market's in range, don't buy the breakout. Buy the pullback. Then sell the breakout or sell the high of the day. So I see a lot of people will post names, but they don't post it on the pullback. I know some people are breakout traders. I'm not. Maybe that's why I'm trying to stress it enough, just because I've lost so many times in the past because I didn't learn that during a range day in the SPYs and the Qs when I first started trading, sure as hell don't try to buy the breakout, my friend. So anyways, I just wanted to highlight that as a note. I see a lot of people will post an individual name. They see at a breakout point when the market's in range. Again, I'm not judging. I can't stress it enough. Don't try to buy the breakout in a range day unless it's got some PR. Okay, let me go up to some questions. As trader, with so many indicator signals, etc., how many do you require to be in alignment to give you a green light to take a trade? How do you weigh if some conflict? This isn't a science. You try to use the tools in front of you to gauge your most probable setup and setups that you can recognize. So if history proves that a 9 and 20 cross breaks out, like, okay, this is only 1 minute, 9 crosses above the 20, you'll want to use that. If it's right on a trend line support, you're going to use that. If the price is currently above the VWAP, you're going to use that. But yeah, it's hard to gauge. There's no perfect answer for that. You've got to use your own history, and that's why it's so important to do chart reviews every single night. What worked, what didn't, why didn't it? You could throw half the technical indicators out the window if they don't work. I just browse at them for a guide to help me formulate my opinion. So I hope that answered your question, S-Trader. I don't know if you're asking what my most important indicators are. Trend channels are absolutely number one. I don't care what all the indicators are doing. Trend channels and price action are my number one thing I look at. Then I look at EMAs. Are the EMAs rising? Let's get on to some 5 minutes. 5-minute charts. Does it have a rising EMA when you're looking to get in? So right here, okay, here's EPD. This is the chart up, so I'm just going to use it. A high, lower high, low, tested that low, lower low, could not break above that high, then tested that high. But the EMAs are kind of just flatlining, going sideways. Yeah, the price is above the VWAP, then boom. This is obviously at the opener, and it obviously had news, so I'm just using this as an example. When the EMAs are declining, that's your short. Then they're going to start to converge. And then look what we have right here. We got a TTM, Kelt getting inside Bollinger Bands getting inside the Keltner channels. Actually, no, I apologize. They didn't. The Keltner upper channel's right there. But you had a 9 and 20 cross, and then boom, they're going up. On my hourly charts and 15-minute charts, I prefer to use the 13-minute EMA, the one I always use. As a guide for a little bit longer term views. So you just try to formulate the best opinion you can from what you have in front of you. But I use EMAs. I don't really use the Bollinger Bands as much, except when there's mass consolidation going on. VWAP's very important to me. Again, non-anchored. I never want to anchor VWAP for an intraday trader. Never want it. Never, 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 never. I want to know if it's a rising or declining VWAP. So those are, I guess, my most important ones. I love the Stochastics RSI indicator on crossovers, and I'll even use trend channels on this, honestly. All right, let me keep continuing. I think I elaborated too much on indicators. I apologize. Ben Carson, great question. S-Trader, yeah, it was. S-Trader, and giving many indicator signals, how much lead time do you have to set up a trade? Typically, what is your primary trading TF? What do you mean by TF, S-Trader? Time frame, my apologies. Such an obvious one, I apologize. And giving so many indicator signals, how much lead time do you have to set up a trade? Typically, what is your primary trading time frame? It's hard. Long term, when I'm looking at a trend channel for a longer trade I want to hold throughout the day, I definitely do hourly and 15-minute. I rarely will ever look at the 30-minute. I revert just what I prefer, 60-minute and 15-minute. I know Jay uses the 78-minute. I haven't really tinkered around with the 78-minute too much. It's just what I use. So trend channels, all for a long-term trade, for a long-term hold, which is basically in my time frame, an intraday trade, indicators and trend channels will be on, or I apologize, trend channels, I mostly rely on the 15-minute and the hourly. Intraday, I rely on 9 and 20 crosses. I like the 60 on the 5-minute. Crossovers or pullbacks on the 60 or the 5-minute on the 60 EMA, sometimes an indicator for me. I'll try to create a video for you, S-Trader, with some good examples. But for breakouts, if I'm right there and I think it's going to go higher, and I'm looking at the 1-minute, the 3-minute, and the 5-minute, and everything's lining up, I'll use the 9 and 20 and crossover signals, and I also use stochastics on the 5-minute. If they're oversold, I love it. Obviously, that's kind of my buy area where I like to buy. So I hope that answers your question. As trader, yeah, and I often post late. Bad habit. Oh, referring to the breakout. Hey, bud, I was there too, man. Everyone does it. I wanted to hammer in the importance of range. So I used to do it. I used to buy the breakout and I'd get slammed. Because you know what? Sellers are sitting there just waiting for Chris Whitesell to come in to try to buy the breakout, and we're going to stuff him. We're going to punch him right in the damn face and put him back where he belongs because he doesn't realize it's a range day. So it happened to me so many times, and that's when I just decided I'm not going to be a breakout trader. If it's a bull market and it's a bull day and we're up 300 points or 200 points, you bet I'll try and play the breakout. Only on the right setup. But in a range day, hell no. You'll never catch me playing a breakout. Only on the right setup. But in a range day, hell no. You'll never catch me playing a breakout. It's just not my style. It could break out and go up 10R. I don't care. I'm never going to take that trade. Never on a range day. I'd rather lose and watch it go by because history has proven me wrong, and it's hit me in the pocketbook so many times. So it hammered in me time and time and time again. Don't do it, Chris. So again, I'd rather it run 10R and I never hit it. I don't care. I'll never take that trade on a range day. S trader 560 EMA, like 15 and 20. Yep, thanks. Ben Carson, do you like polarity plays when support becomes resistance, or are you only trend lines? Both somewhat discretionary. Just curious. No. If a trend line matches up and it's right near resistance, look at DE. I mean, granted, this play was on a big print that caught my eye, but look at this hourly. So let's try to answer Ben's question by browsing over. No, I'll browse over and see if it's near a top on the hourly. Again, I use OHLC because they're so easy for me to see. I can see the top right here. All right, 84.92 right there. So it all depends. I'll look at that in the 15-minute. Here's where that big print was, 84.48, and I think the print was 84.59. So yeah, Ben, I'll try to glance over to see if it's in a near-term support. But if this trend line is telling me this is a sell and it's hardly violated it and it's heading lower, I'm not really super concerned. I'll enter in that area where the trend channel is and then try and take it lower. In DE, yeah, would have worked, but hey, shoulda, woulda, coulda, I didn't take it. So yeah, I'll look on the 15-minute and this 60-minute, and if there's major support, it'll probably weigh in my decision without a doubt. S trader, yeah, breakouts on range dojis, tough. Yeah, I agree. George Meadows, so I buried 10 pounds of gold next to the blank. Oh, I don't know what you mean, but I find it funny. S trader, on those trend channels, how often do you flip at the channel, or what do you need to see to do that flip? S trader, the trend channel is my guide. If it violates it and it goes higher, then there's going to be a new trend channel. So I'll typically take a trade right at the trend channel or right above it. Just because it barely peeked its nose above it doesn't mean we're on a full-out breakout and heading higher. I'll dip my toes in wet right here and then see if my thesis is correct and it heads lower. And again, this trade's easy to talk about because it happened, but I didn't take the trade. But I'm just trying to answer your question and use a guide. The sound, how's my sound now? I apologize if it's cutting out. It should be good. Sound cutting off, LOL. Is the sound good, gang? Sorry if it isn't. Okay, Jay. Cool. but you'll flip from long to short right there at the top. S-Trader, well, if you were long DE, and this is just an hourly chart, remember you use all the time frames, you would want to be selling right near this trend channel. And if you say you got it in a swing down here, and it got above this, etc., and right here, you'd want to be getting out of a long right there. You'd want to scale out, and I don't know what your time frame is, like how long you would want to hold the trade. But yeah, so we'll just use DE. Okay, so here earlier today it hit it. Right at 10 a.m. it hit it. But look at this is what I'm talking about. It peaks its nose right above it, and any sucker that wants to get long there, thinking this trend is violated, is going to be in for a rude awakening. Not too hard. And then it came back, and this is that channel right there. This is a carryover right there. Then it peaked its nose over again, but it didn't make a new high. Boom. Came back down. Didn't make a lower low. Then it barely peeked its nose in, and then look at, this is why I use the big prints. That's where the big print came in, and then here was the confirmation. This is a pretty damn good area to short, and then boom. And then let's do the math real quick. What would this be if you held? And again, this is all shoulda, woulda, coulda. Let me get off this, trying to get on chart 1. Okay. And again, you'd use 84.59 with about, since it's an $80 stock, you want to give it about 20, 30 cents. That's a $1.12 move if you got it the exact low, exact high and exact low. That's 1.3%. So you could see the benefits of following trend channels in big prints. Made a 1% move. So, and the indicator is right there, that confirmation, no new high, even though it didn't take a new low. Here's your short area right there in that trend channel. All right, any other questions? Good here. Sounds for me, maybe just me. George, sorry to hear about that, bud. If you guys want me to keep talking, I will. I'll try and find some other examples of trend channels, because I haven't really been looking for trades because the wife didn't call. I thought I was going to be pulling a half day, so I'll keep chatting if you guys want me to. S-Trader, about what % of your trades come from prior day plan versus pre-market current day? What % of your trades come from prior? I've got a whole list right here, S-Trader. Some of my favorite names, top watch list of things that have kind of moved or that I'm browsing at. And I'll watch these. You know why? Because I know what they've done every single day. I mean, yeah, you could pull up a scan and look at every stock out there if you want to. But I create a pretty good list, and I'll go through that list, and I take gaps for the day. I take earnings. I take PR, everything all related from I showed you that platform right here. And then I'll take it all into consideration. So I'll be following stocks, and if it's a setup I like, or if it's right, say let's use DE again because it's right on our chart. If I've been watching this stock and it's right near this trend channel on a daily basis, you could bet this is a carryover name for me. Like if, say it closed right here on the trend channel, right there, and then it hadn't opened yet, pretend none of this happened because it hadn't opened yet, and it closed right there, you can be damn sure I'm watching this tomorrow. I want to see how it reacts to the trend channel. Look at I post these watch lists in the morning. They've got all carryover names. I probably had like 20. WBA, definitely regretted the day. This was in my watch list, gang, for the Apex formation. Look at this. But what I didn't like is it came out of it. I wasn't about to play it right here because we're in a little bit tighter range. But I saw some big prints coming in yesterday at 81.77, and then so I noticed the big prints, and then all of a sudden I pulled a chart, and I was like, oh, hot damn, and I'm like, this got a nice little apex right there. So I'll watch this the next day, and it gapped up a little too much for me. I didn't want it, but look at it, gapped into that hourly, and I'm like, I don't know. I told you I'm not a breakout trader, but in PTS course, say this had, I didn't take the PTS course, by the way, but this is what they talk about. A gap, boom, came back to settle right there and then look at just higher and higher and higher all day. But so this was a name that carried over as trader that I was watching. So this was a carryover trade on an apex formation. So of course I had this on my watch list. I had a bunch on my watch list based on trend lines, and I had some KNDI was of course on my list, but I don't like KNDI. It's a thin name, and I don't have a good history with it. So I'm trying to think what else I had. Twillo was on watch just based upon that channel trend. I'm trying to think. I can't remember from this morning what I originally had on watch, because on my my faves open list, wherever the heck it went, I cross a lot of these out throughout the day. But actually, a lot of these started to somehow found its way on my list. JD's been making my list every day. I had to power out. I was so mad. Here, look at all those channel trends. I was so mad. This thing ran on my power outage day when my power went out here in Carolina. I've been waiting for this thing, just waiting for JD. Had that 5% stake in Walmart bought. I've been waiting. I knew shorts were going to be covering soon, or just new longs. And I look at all these channel trends right here. I've been following this one every day, and I'm so pissed. Got power back on and just scrolling through, and I was like, damn. Any other questions? I did log off and on. It sounds better. Okay, good, George. Do you use stock universe? Any price, volume, etc. criteria? Yeah, price action is huge, bud. Definitely. Oh, a set stock universe, like a set of rules? Oh yeah, my columns right here you're talking about? Yeah, it'll tell me everything. Okay, here's I gotta refresh it right here. Here I could sort by volume surge. So on its like Yum Brands, on average, this is trading 260% of what it normally does. So if it normally does 100%, it's trading 260% of its normal volume. There's your volume. Above here, it matches with above average volume is checked. Like some people use a set basket universe to scan from based on minimum volume range. Whatever. Yeah, I don't really use the scans like that. There's some pre-builts that come in TC2000. I'll pull a couple up here for you. You're going to see tons of scans in here. I've got so many that are so old. I didn't go through and clean them up. Let's go to pre-built. Super active today. Here you go. And this will include everything. So here you go by volume surge. But yeah, I don't revert to these. Again, it's on what I highlighted earlier. It'll just have you looking at too much, and I still stand by my my set of rules. Your eyes are your best scan. Follow your trading plan. Follow your watch list. Don't negate the homework you did the night before to go try and chase something else, because you're violating what you just spent all night looking at. Not all night, but the homework you did. So yeah, I don't follow these. But yeah, there's pre-builts, but I don't follow those really. I'll look at on my equity feed right here. Throughout the day. I'm trying to get it over. Sorry, something's going on. Hang on, here we go. Okay, so right here, I could sort this by volume. Filters, we're at 1 million. Let's go 2.5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, whoops, it's too many. So here we go. Now I could see I want at least $2.5 million traded, so you can get all these little guys in there if you want. I always look at this throughout the day. So right now, what is this? TGC. So right now I know that it's trading 623 times what it does on the last 5 trading days. So if you take the average volume of the last 5 trading days, it's currently trading 623 times that. Trading 464 times its 30-day versus 60 days trading 266. What the heck is this? WCB. I don't know. Could have been a stock purchase or secondary. Look at OPTT. See, I could easily look at all these, but I'll use it as a guide, but to see what's hot in the morning in my watch list. In the morning, KNDI came up because I'll just open it up, and this populates for me in the morning, and I'll look, and I'll look to see what the volume is doing versus its last 5 trading days. I'm a near-term trader, and I want results that correlate in the near term. So I want to look in the last 5 trading days. What has this stock been doing? You know, where's it priced at that? Like to scan from based on minimum volume. Yeah, okay. But yeah, no, I don't. I look at it as trader, but I don't do scans for it. My IB has got all the alerts for price alert, not price alert, but volume surge. LT News Desk does a great job. I'm on Stock Twits as well. I'll use Open Outcrier's really good. You want people with cutting breaking news. So I see the alerts from that. Volume surge. I follow the options on. I'm not really an option trader, but I'll see where the options are trading. They'll post alerts. You know, 40,000 calls at $20 in Pandora, for example. Anyways, let me cover VRX. I will take this trade every single time. Here's an example of a setup that I love. I'm pretty sure it's covered in PTS too. It's let me get over the 5 minute. Let's get over to, I need my EMAs here just so I could show you what I was looking at. I got stopped in this the other day. Very disappointed, but I wanted to highlight the importance of sticking with your trades, sticking with your plans. It was over here on the 6th. You know it. Guess where I got stopped? 10 cents off the low. And look what it did. But here, it's kind of hard to read right here. But here's one of my favorite setups. We're just talking about setups, so I want to talk about it. Here, it opened higher. 9 was still above the 20, and it was at the VWAP. And I think I got in right at the VWAP. And my stop will always be the same stop, whatever my R value is. I told you, at the open, it's 250. Sometimes I'll widen it depending on the name. But look what happened. Came down to test that trend channel. Let's pull up this hourly. Right there. Guess where I was stopped? Right above that, about 10 cents above that. Look what it did every single time, the rest of the day. That hurt. That hurt. I didn't re-enter either. Anyways, so I like to see a pop at the open and a pullback. This chart shouldn't be used right here because it's not what happened today. But I love the pop, and then I don't go chasing the pop. I'll wait for the pullback. And VRX that day had a pullback to the 9 and the 20 were lined up right there, and the VWAP was right there. So I took that trade and got stopped. That one hurt. That sucked. But it is what it is. You know, you can't take it personal. I was already moving on to the next trade. I was like, screw it. I got stopped for 1 hour, and I got out. So talking about trade, I was like, screw it. I got stopped for 1 hour, and I got out. So talking about setups, I don't just use trend channels. I love to see the pop. I love to see the pullback. VRX I didn't trade today. There's too much junk going on in it. Maybe you could do a vid that goes step by step through your evening and pre-market prep routines. As trader, yeah, I just what I do is I keep my favorites list, and then I'll pull up to see who's reporting, who had news. You can get on Benzinga. They're pretty good with after-hours movers. Just look for top movers after hours or top movers pre-market. I always look to those. You know who's really good if you guys don't want to pay for the platforms? Excuse me, still trying to kick this cold. You know what service is really good? They have a free service, and you can find it on like even Yahoo Finance. check out briefing.com. They will give you a 101 where you can look at like 8:39 in the morning, look for something that had news, and it's going to be in there, and they're going to cover it. And then because it'll have the time frame right there. Briefing, I don't know, Ackman dumps VRX, let's say, for example. Type in VRX if you knew it was big news, and then you should find an article in the briefing. And the briefing.com will cover all the news in the morning. And all you do is you scroll down real quick, and it's got all your PR, and they have a free version, and Yahoo picks it up, and you can quickly scan right there actual numbers on earnings, who took stakes in what, so you can use briefing. You don't have to pay for these services if you don't want to. I used to do that. I just found I was trying to do too much homework doing that. So I pay up. I pay the money. And yeah, $190 a month for this is not cheap, but I'm going to see something I didn't see, and it pays for itself. I can't get rid of it. I canceled it one time, and I just, like 3 weeks later, I got back to it. So I don't think I answered your question, Astrid. I'm rambling on. It's way too much. A video, yeah, I'll do a video. Basically, I mean, look at my pre-market videos. I do a screencast every single morning. I just wait for the room to open, and I just copy and paste it, and that's what I came up with. But yeah, if you want me to cover it real quick, I could look, and I look for trend lines or certain areas. I still use 45-minute bar plays, so I'll look to my 15-minute, and I look for a reversion off that. I still do that. I love it. I like to look over and see what it's done for the last 45 minutes and see, because if you ever notice, these things typically tend to move for about an hour, and sometimes they'll change. So why do you think Jay has the 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock reversal time? A lot of times things will move for an hour, so then I'll look over. But yeah, I'll just scroll through my top watch list, and anything that had relevant news, there's 203 names. It'll take me about 15 minutes because I could just go like this. It's going really slow because the screen sharing, and I just go like this. And I'm looking off to the right here on my other screens, and I can look and I go, okay, this is going to be in range, it's not going to do much, and I'll look at something else and I'm like, hey, this is going to be worth watching, and I'll check this out via this channel trend. Use the LT gap scanner. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, gap scanner if you want. I was sitting there talking about briefing.com. It's just a free service, but yeah, they got the scanners right there. I personally don't use it just because I pay for all this that I have right here. I'll just revert to my market view on my equity feed, and I'll see what's moving on volume, up, down, why it's moving. So that's fair. Yeah, I'll just glance right here, and then say this is the morning, and this is pre-market. I'll just click right here. What's this got? Ocean Power Technologies develops its first community design PV3 power buoy. Ooh, that's some interesting news. Let me tell you. Psych. Anyways. Do it right there, and then I'll look to see what it's trading its average volume. I can do a short view. So you want to know Shack, you can type in the symbol. But yeah, this is what I do every morning. I'll just glance at this, and I'll scroll up and down. And my presets are, I want at least, especially now that it's earnings season, I want at least $100,000 traded pre-market, or I'm not looking at you. So pre-market, if you got $100,000 traded, you caught my attention, and I'm going to see what's going on. You got a gap, even better. You fully have my attention now. Kihu, Gap, saw it this morning. Had to scroll for a PR, didn't pick it up on here because it was announced last night, some buyout or something like that. Cree, was wondering what was going on in Cree. It just hit this, boom. Okay, so they freed up, they got $850 million in cash, So this is what I do every single morning. And I'll look and I'll start to curate a list based upon that. LPI, remember, had a secondary this morning, or a pricing on there. Yeah, price, they priced it. And okay, right there. Now I know they upsize their offering too. So this is what I do every morning. And then I'll just take whatever I scanned in my top watch list and whatever I see on my market view, and that's my watch list for the day. Fair a source for a one-stop shop. JB, LT gap scanner. Oh yeah. Use the gap scanner. Yeah. Again, it's me. I'm neurotic. I have an all-in-one right here, so I keep it, and it's what I'm used to. And again, I highlight. I don't want to go learn something new, so I keep what I have. It definitely pays for itself, or I still would not have it. It's like a trade. I'm not going to keep losing on something. As trader, yeah, it seems like you have a lot going on. So many things you're watching. Yeah, but you know what? The best part is I'll focus on just a couple names. So I'll have my favorites open, and I can have a laundry list right there. But on watch, here's it's off here to the right. Let me come over here. This is actually what I was watching at this morning off the open, because for some reason or another, these caught my eye for action. So I think I honestly even narrowed it down to 3. So right at the open, I'm really only focusing on 3 trades. Oh, and gang, yeah, just all this. These are the big prints, current positions. Obviously, there's none. And I'll for my streaming scans, I'll combine my big prints by my favorites open, and then I have filters over to the right for streaming scans, and then I just create this list combined, and I change that every single morning. So yeah, you can see KNDI, it's still on here, but I already got it off the list. But this is what I have going on. These are, it's a little overkill, but I like it. I don't care. I've got 6 monitors. I've got the one you're looking at, the 27-inch, one above that for chat, and everything else in stock twits, and 4 off to the left and 2 off to the right to hold the 5 minutes. So these are what I'm looking at. So you could say I have a lot going on, but I'll have names right here, and I could just take a quick look and just browse at what they're doing on time frame. So it may seem like I have a lot going on, but I actually don't. I don't try to confuse myself. Having all these names to the left or right, it's not confusing to me. I've got oil, I've got the VIX, I've got dust, I've got LABU. These are all ETFs for certain sectors. And at one glance to my left, I can see if the SPY's oversold or the Qs are oversold, or if we're at resistance. So it may seem like I have a lot on these charts. I really don't, though. I narrow it down, and from this whole list, I'll really only be watching probably 3 or 4 at a time, tops, right at the open on my most probable setups. So it may seem like I do, but I don't have a lot going on. Oh, that's a LT. Just wondering how you narrowed all that down. As trader, action in the morning. What is it doing? Revert to my technicals, stochastics, EMAs, trend lines especially. It's always my first thing. I love the trend lines. So if something's on a long-term trend line, it has my full attention. Narrow it down. I try to decipher the information on PR. Like if it's, say, I have some biotech and it's up 50% in the pre-market, and I don't chase those names ever. And I don't really care to participate in those names. I don't care. I used to do that stuff, and I lost too many times. I was always on the wrong end. So I'll try to decipher the information on the PR. I don't know. It's just, I don't know how to explain how I kind of analyze and decipher it. I look for movement, and I'll look at my indicators, and I'll look at VWAP, and then I make my most probable decision based upon what I'm looking at, and I said probable decision. I meant my decision based on what I'm looking at, EMAs, and the most probable setups that I like. So, and again, that takes experience in knowing what's going to move and why it's going to move. You have to study charts. I don't know. I could look at a chart and be like, I don't like that. It's in range, or whatever. I'm not using this chart, for example, but I could scroll through and look at a name. Oh, I don't like that morning action, so that's off my list for now. If I get a price alert right here, where's my alerts? It's around somewhere. I think I closed it. If I get a message on something, then I might go back to it. But I don't know. You'll just look to see how the action is at on where you're looking. I don't know. It takes experience to study charts, my friend, and look. And this should come to you when you just scrolling through. And again, I have all the windows to my left and right, so I'll browse that. I've got room besides for my ETFs. I've got 6 on each chart, minus the one for the big prints. So I've got 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 names that I'm maxing out on that I can look and still have windows for my USO, my VIX, my SPY, so that I could take one quick glance. And so I'll just look over to the left and look how names are acting. Like right now, look at, oh wow, Twillo. Quite the sell that pullback. Just wondering how, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, how I analyze fundamentals? You can kind of tell when something's bullshit. Pardon my language. Like, okay, let's look at PG. Caught an upgrade today, and I called it out as a flat top breakout as possible, but I think it had some really big prints right before the close, if memory serves me correctly. No, that's, yeah, Thursday, 7:14. Oh, this is 1 minute. No one knows what I'm saying. Here's one example. Like, yeah, it gapped up higher, but look at the sell. Look at the sell-off. So when somebody upgrades something and it's right at the top right there, and I'm seeing some big prints right there. What do we have? Like a 500,000 print? Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say 500,000 rung a bell. I remember seeing a big print in PG sometime yesterday. So right now, when I see PG is upgraded by somebody, yeah, you got that gap up. But what did it actually do right at the open? Did it run up? No. So it basically gapped, and you had that big print. I'm thinking whoever just upgraded, unloaded that 500,000 shares on the whole market, and it pulled back. Or on the other end of that, somebody bought a 500,000 shares and was looking for it to run up, and it's not doing that. So it's, I don't know, just through experience, and you read these PRs, takeover talks, in this name or that name, and you're just sitting there thinking like, are they nuts? Nobody's going to buy them. I remember a big one back in the day. Remember OCZ, I think it was, they made the NAND memory, and there was all the rumors on the buyouts, and it ran up to like $8 from $2, and they're getting bought out. If you looked at the fundamentals, S-traders, they had a losing business strategy. They kept beating their revenues, but they were losing hundreds of millions of dollars. Not hundreds of millions. They kept losing millions of dollars. They had debt notices coming, and then all of a sudden a bunch of idiots come out so they could short it higher because they know the exact outcome. It's going bankrupt, period, point blank, no doubt about it. So they say it's going to be bought out. It's not a good business model. Yeah, we'll sell more, but we just keep losing millions and millions. Our revenues went up to $1 billion, but you know what? We lost $100 million in the quarter. We can't profit a damn dime, and we got $18 million left in the bank. And then somebody comes out and says, "Hey, it's a buyout. It's a buyout rumor. It runs up to $8. You know what? They loaded up the shorts, and any sucker that held that for a long looking for the buyout, the stock no longer exists. Let's just say a couple months later. So that's an example of BS that I would use in how to decipher the information. I would look at the fundamentals. I would look at their business strategy and say, hey, they're selling more, but they're losing more. Buyout rumor, and I would decipher the two and say, hey, no thanks, yeah, run it up, get in for a scalp, but hey, don't hold that bag. I'm trying to think other examples. It's mainly on buyouts. One good sign, and it's really hard to tell, Oracle did its largest bond offering in its history at $14 billion, held in New Jersey, I think it was the other day, or last week or the week before that. There's rumors of buyouts in, I think it was N and somebody else. I don't know. It's a guessing game. Like, here's the rumor right there on N. Oracle's going to buy somebody. So you could look at that. You could look at what Oracle just did. They raised money. They've got a great cash position. They don't need money. So then you could try to weigh who are they going to buy? Who are they best suited? Who it can normally run down to is who's being absorbed in the industry. Did CRM just get bought? Of course it didn't. Somebody else just got bought in the industry, and you could look at another company and then you could try to weigh how much they just did their offering for. Say they raised $14 billion and they got $20 billion in cash. So all right, now they have $34 billion, and you try to weigh that. I think I got off topic a little bit. I apologize. But I take these things in consideration on who actually has a chance of getting bought out and who doesn't. But what it all falls down to, it's a coin toss. I mean, I don't buy, buyout names. Look at Monsanto. It's supposed to be bought out for 125 or whatever it was raised to. You know why it's down at 103.50 right now? Because a lot of people do not think the regulators will let it pass. Period, point blank. It's the only reason why it's down. They don't think they can get it passed. It's hard to decipher the info. That's good to hear. Price action, trend lines, main aspect, and other indicators filter to give more. Yeah, exactly. You use them. You use them to confirm your move on what you're looking at. Does anybody have any other questions? I really got off topic on some things, and I apologize if I was rambling on. Does anybody have any other questions on setups? Anything I look at? I really tried to do my best on describing what I look at and why I look at it. If I got off topic a little bit, I apologize, or I try to answer your question to the best of my ability, hopefully. And if I don't know an answer to a question, I'll be the first one to say, I'm like, you know what? I have no clue. Like, say you ask me about a stock, I'm like, yeah, it's in range. I don't know. So if I don't know something, I'll let you know right away. Just impress overall how you can absorb all those indicators, signals, info, and so quickly. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I use them as secondary, as Anmol described. Yeah, I mainly use volume and price action. That's the most important indicator. My second is trend line, hands down. And then everything else all the rest of the dominoes will fall into place. If 9 is crossing the 20, et cetera. Is it breaking above the VWAP? Is it meeting your criteria for this, your typical breakouts? But yeah, I use all of it. Like a lot of people use naked charts, and hey, everyone trade with what works for you. This is what works for me. By looking at this right here, all I got to do is glance down. I know what it's doing. I know it's hugging the VWAP, or I know it's 9 and 20 is trying to cross on WBA right now. On the 5-minute. Look at right there. So right there, by looking, I know what's going on. AMD, I know that it's stochastics RSI is oversold. What we got right here? This price is touching the 60. Like I said, I like to see the 60. KKR, 9 and 20 cross, attempting to. Right away, I'm going to know most likely the Bollinger Bands are going to be a little tight, and it could be directional. But you know what? Market's in range, so, I don't know. I use a lot of stuff, but I need it to trade. I mean, yeah, I could eliminate a lot of it, but I like it. I choose not to. I learned to trade with it, but I'm not held hostage by it. KKR, actually, well, just kind of caught my attention. Yeah, no call from the wifey. 15-minute hourly. Broke its descending trend channel right there. And look at it. Little wedge. 15 minutes. I mean, I'm not playing this. This is going to go on watch possibly for tomorrow. I don't know. And I use all these alerts right here. Price alerts. I'll set them. All I got to do is do an alert. I can go to my alert console, create alert, price. I can do a condition, stochastics, whatever I want. I can create alert for anything. I can create a custom scan. I've got just too many scans that I used to use. I use them for daily searches, but I don't use them really intraday. I'll use some screening scans intraday. I used to have a bunch, and I found I was all over the place. Thanks, Chris. Sorry for not monopolizing questions. No. I'm here to let you enter my mind and what I look at. And I know some people will leave confused, but I hope I answered what I look at in a trade to the best of my ability. It's a lot to take in, and especially since besides a couple things, my trading, with the exception of some setups, is not like what you learn in PTS. So I try to bring a different view, to it. So a lot of this may be new to people. I don't know. People, I don't know. Alfie, you should post your trade ideas more often. Alfie, I do in the morning. You know what I found, my friend? Right away, I used to see something, and then I'd post it, and then I'm like, damn it, I'm not near a comfortable position. So a lot of times I'll get in the trade. I'll be honest, bud. I will pull something up. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I used to post what I was looking at, and besides the time it took, I found people weren't even watching the videos. So I would take the time to make these videos. I actually have one. Let me pull this up. Of an example. I labeled it example, nobody watching, or something like that. Because I can monitor how many people view the videos. So I used to post trade ideas, but a lot of people weren't watching them. So I just said, oh, forget it. So intraday, I'd be, here we go. And I think I had a couple of good trades right here. I labeled it just for this purpose. Example of 0 views. So right here, I could see 10 views. There's 19. Some of these are from stock twits. Here's a couple that I just posted to our trading room. I see 0 views. And this is my morning watch list, and nobody's watching them. So not to be a jerk, I've just not taken the time during the day anymore to create these videos, to scroll up and down and show you, hey, I'm watching this at this price, or I like this. There's nobody who's watching them. I found you catch people's attention much more when you tell them you enter a trade. So, Alpy, I enter trades and I post them. And you'll see a bunch of misspellings. My apologies. I'm trying to do too much a lot of times. And quite frankly, I'll just browse at LT's news a lot of times, see what's going on, and see the moderators and what they're in. And I type so damn quickly, and there's always misspellings. So my apologies on that. So LP, I hope that answers your questions. I do post. I'll be like, hey, wedge on this or apex on that in my morning video and throughout the day sometimes. But yeah, you're right. A lot of times I won't post it unless I actually get in the trade. George Meadows, did you say time of day you stopped taking? George, I'll take them all day, every day. I don't care. Today, I honestly quit early because I wanted to, the moderators were asking me to get on just, because it's great to have different aspects, different people's point of view, different styles of trading, learning from each other. I mean, it's us against the machines and the big guys, people. Even if I don't see your setup, say somebody gets in at this price, I'm rooting for you every single time. I want you to do well. I wanted to take this time to talk about some of my trade ideas. So I hadn't really planned on trading midday today. Wow, market. Actually just looked over to the left. Yeah, might be missing out on some trades talking to you guys. But that's okay because right now I don't have a trading plan. I haven't really been watching too many. But yeah, no, I wanted to get into post some ideas, but I'll trade all throughout the day. I am reluctant to trade pre-market, and if I do, I don't post it because I don't want people following me on the trade if I am wrong. And it's always a super small position. Like if I see something gap up and it's right near a trend line and I'm thinking this is going to be a really good fade, if there's a little bit of liquidity right at that point, maybe I might throw a couple hundred shares in just, and then wait for the open and I'll write it down. And it's worked out for me a couple times and it's also stopped me. I never got destroyed doing it. I'm subject to recommend doing that. It's just with some of my risks, sometimes I don't think I'm going to get that price at the open, so sometimes I'll do a short or a long, depending on it. But it's only going to be the equivalent of like a couple hundred. I'll just throw out the number there. I'm only doing like 2 to 3,000, for example, as a starter. So if something jumped up, it's in a trend or a line or a Fibonacci number where I think it's a good number to get in. I'm gonna put at risk maybe 2 to 3,000 at work, and that's the entire trade. That's not my my risk factor, by the way. And I'll do it, but I honestly don't do it. A lot of times I'll miss out on my perfect entry because it'll pull back, just because it's dangerous pre-market. And after hours is pretty dangerous. But sometimes I gotta say, after hours, as long as you like to set up, say somebody's reporting and it's traded millions of shares in the after hours, I consider that the same action as during the day, and I will trade after hours on earnings if it's highly, highly liquid and there's just trades going left and right. I'll trade. If it hits a setup, it hits support. And again, I'm not taking full positions. I'll just do small positions because anything can happen in the after hours. There's a conference call about to start, and anything can be said. So I'll typically move very quickly for scalps. I'm not sticking in anything. So George, I hope that answers your questions. I rarely trade pre-market. Of this year, let me give you an example. I think I did twice. And after hours, I probably took, trying to be honest, trying to think, no less than 10, but no more than 20. And they were all scalps. And I was probably in and out of each trade in 5 to 10 minutes because they were all on earnings. And I don't recall my P&L on it. I vaguely recall doing pretty well on some scalps and some names. I remember there was 1 or 2 that I missed or lost on, and it would have been a regular setup trade, pull back to a trend line or support, and it had great volume. So I took the trade, and I definitely lost on some of them. But overall, I really don't. It's just during the day, but I will trade all day. So I hope that answers your question, George. As trader, 2:30 p.m. HR, if you have 2 to 3 losing trades in a row, do you change anything? What are your big trade management rules? Hey, 3R, I'm done with the trade, or done for the day. 3R, because you got to remember, as trader, 250 in the morning and 150 is my R for middays. So do the math there. That's a hit in the pocketbook. 3R, I'm done. I don't care if I see a perfect setup later. Whatever I was doing all day ain't working for me now, and I ain't about to try to change it. It's a great habit to have, guys. Everyone should post ideas. Agree. And don't be afraid to post your trades. I mean, I'm not a moderator here. I try to help out, try to explain my point of view. But, hey, post an idea, all somebody can say is, hey, I don't see it. Sometimes I'll post a trade, and, like, Jared's on the mic, and he'll be like, Chris likes, KKR is up. Chris likes KKR at 1260. And then he doesn't comment because he's like, I don't see what you're looking at. So it's all right if people don't see it. I might see something he doesn't, or, hey, I might be wrong with the trade. Post an idea. I mean, nobody's here to say, oh, what the hell are they thinking? Why would they think this is a trade? Nobody's like that. But, like, I'll just post, hey, I don't see it, and I actually don't comment a lot. Maybe I should try to post more, like if somebody posted, say, XYJ trader posted, he likes PA at 1320, and I'm seeing resistance at 1320. Maybe I should try to work on taking time to say, hey, man, I think it's resistance, JMO, So when I was not running this room, I had a YouTube channel where I post all my trades, etc. Yeah, sometimes I got no views, LOL. Yeah, I know, I'm all right, but I did it anyway. Yeah, I don't know, better man than me, my friend. It takes time, so when I see people not reviewing my videos, and again, I can see how many people click on them. I'm just not. I'll still do the morning trades because I post the stock twits. And I hadn't really been posting stock twits a lot, but I'm trying to do it more. I don't know why. I don't know. Self-recognition, maybe. Somebody pat me on the back. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I just posted out there to try and help people, to be quite honest. Yeah, so I see more views now. But these were the LiveTraders room, 0 views. Anyways, I could care less. Hopefully people watch them, feel like my idea is great. If you got some, you create a watch list. You create a watch list and you post it in the room, I'll check it out. And I'll try to take the time, like, hey, I don't see it, or, or the gang, the moderators will check it out if they have time. George, yep, thanks. All right, is there any questions? I think I covered everything. Oh, if you get the trading down, I actually made myself earn it. I did a custom build. It's actually getting a little bit old now, and I need to upgrade it, but I got a little boy on the way, so wife won't be too happy about it. Make yourself earn whatever money you're going to spend. I did a custom built computer. It was expensive. I'm a DIY guy. I did the research. There's some companies out there that do it. You can Google them, whatever. You can buy one custom built. But I needed to push all my monitors, and there's enormous amounts of data coming through at any one time. So I want the RAM. I got dual video cards. I've got all these monitors to power. But make yourself earn it. I made myself earn it by making the trades, and I made the money, and then I went out and bought a big rig, custom built PC, and I built it myself. But it could be confusing for some people, but for me, I could look over to the left, and I know exactly what's going on in all these names without having to toggle through this list right here. If anybody's got a question about a custom build or you've been thinking about it, let me know. I could try to help guide you on what to get. It's expensive, but if you're not winning in trades and you're not making money, don't spend the money. Wait till you got a bunch of good trades. You're making good money. It's not necessity to trading, but I want it, and I've got the crazy internet too. By the way, I'm not bragging. But I'm an internet snob working on a computer all day. I cannot wait for anything. I refuse to sit on my laptop or tablet or anything and wait for a page to load. There's nothing that drives me more nuts. So I got it's like the Google Fiber, but AT&T's got it. It's a gigabyte per second. I love it because you can stream anything in the whole house. And I like it just because of the amount of data that comes through. So if anybody's got a question about anything like that or any custom build computers, let me know. But again, make yourself earn it. And I could guide you on a couple mistakes that I made when I built my computer. Wow. Just looking at a couple names over to the left and right. All right. Anyways, I'm just chilling, so I'll just sit right here. But I think I'm kind of about maxed out on what I could talk about. What BPS did you say? What do you mean by BPS, George? Oh, that's gigabyte. It's 1 gigabyte per second. So you can download a movie in like 27 seconds. My internet speed. But again, it's just because I'm a snob. I have zero patience. Like when I'm at somebody else's house, I'm like, hey man, let me use your tablet. I got to look up something. I'm trying to see who's in the big fight or something like that. And I'll pull up. I'm like, oh my God, you got standard internet. And I'm waiting for the page to load again. It's me being a snob. 65 is great, George. That's all you need. You know what? And the only reason why I have, that's megabytes, yeah. And that's still a great speed. The only reason why I have a gigabyte per second is because I'm actually lucky to live in a city where there is huge competition because there's major cable companies here. You've got Google Fiber just came here. You've got AT&T Uverse. You have Time Warner and you have Dish. Because you know what? They screw you in the cities when you've got no competition. Man, they ain't giving you nothing. So anyways, long story short, as soon as Google Fiber announced they were coming to Charlotte, AT&T Uverse knew they had to step up their game. They're like, all right, we got to offer our clients gigabyte per second or we're going to lose them to Google Fiber. So I was paying the same price because their max in my area was something like 50. And then it went to the same price for a gigabyte per second because they sent me the offer. I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to take that. If not, I was about to sign up for Google Fiber just because I stream everything in the house when I'm doing Netflix or whatever. If I got the tablet and my TC2000 pulled up and I'm looking at scans, I mainly do all my work at my desk, but I don't like to wait. That's all. And I was paying the same price, so that's why I have the gigabyte per second. Yeah, George, there's only so much more you can do, I'll be honest. A gigabyte per second. Once you're above 50, you're golden. I mean, you can't do much more. I mean, so you could download an entire movie in 5 minutes where I could do it in 27 seconds. Who cares? I'm not downloading movies. You know, George, that's going to pump through enough bandwidth that you can run any amount of data you use for trading on multiple monitors. You're good to go. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't try to trade on 5. I don't know. I hadn't tried to in a long time, so I don't know what it would do. Anyways, let's see if anything. We'll try to go over a guide for some big prints. I wasn't really paying attention. Where am I at right here? I'm probably not taking any more trades, so let's see if we had any other big prints, and let's see if they moved on them. Because I'm not taking any trades right now. I'm done. Only had one trade that was earlier today. I think it was 1.25 hour. Spy and Sam. I think I had some big prints earlier. MDRX. Anything? Oh, and another thing. Anything at a whole number, I typically won't really pay too much attention to. So if something had like, a couple 100,000 shares at $48, it's a whole number trade. I usually don't look at as much. Let's see what the ones that we did catch were that I did not take action on. Oh, and when playing the big prints, here was a big print, 20s. It could be a gift if it goes all the way up and comes all the way back. If you have your stochastics oversold, and it's near the VWAP or right at the VWAP, and it came back down and test that same price, you already got out, that's your next entry. So anyways, you test that big print level or late print level until it proves you wrong, just like everything else. As trader, how many rep to 0, bud? I got to tell you, man, I'm up early too. I get up typically at like 6 o'clock. Probably I got to be, hey, if you're not honest with yourself, then who are you honest with? I probably jog three days a week. I should jog every day, but I don't. So 3 days during the week. I really don't on the weekends. And then I'll do like typically anywhere from a 2 to 3 mile, just real quick, just get the blood flowing. Come back, have a cup of Joe or shower, and then I'm upstairs at my computer. Typically no later than 7, 10, 11-minute miles. You do the math, and I'm back, So, and then I prep, man. I got coffee. I'll have like, typically one a day, but it's usually a large one. But no, I love what I do. I love being here. I find it so exciting. Like, I mean, it just goes to show I'm up. Even if I wasn't going to go for a jog for that day, my alarm clock is then going off at 6:30. And then I'm out of bed no later than 6:45, and I'm upstairs after the cup of Joe, Bruce, and I'm upstairs no later than 7 a.m. doing scans. But I typically do all my homework at night. But I'm that excited to get to work. I love it, man. I love this. So I'm always up here. Yeah, I love it. My wife wants to go to the beach because her parents, I don't like, not like trying to refer to money or anything like that, but my wife's parents has a beach house. Anyway, so long story short, she wants to go to the beach house after we have the kid because she wants to take the time there while she's off work. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I keep trying to talk her out of it. I'm like, I don't know if I could do it, babe, with work. I'm not bringing all this work stuff down there. But yeah, she's always asking, you want to go to lunch? I'm like, I got to work, babe. Unless it's a special day, I got to work. Because I'm not driving across town to go meet her for lunch. A lot of times I do, but not a lot of times, but like, I don't know, once a month, once every other month, I'll meet her for lunch. But I find it, right now I find nothing more exciting than this. I love my last job, and I used to get up every day and be at work. That was a home-based business as well when I was in the ticket business. Remember I told you I was that guy that charged you a lot for those tickets. It was extremely lucrative, and I loved it, but I was burned out. Like, I found it to the point where I wasn't excited to get up anymore. Or I'd get up, and it was just to just to add to the nest egg. I just, it wasn't exciting. So it wasn't challenging. So I got out of business. And, I wanted to be excited again, and I always kind of paid attention to stock. So finally gave it the due diligence it needed a couple years ago, and doing it full time. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, as trader, I know, right? Yeah, I was just like, I made good grades too, but one day I decided, I was 3 years into it too for my civil engineering. I said, screw it, I'm out of here. I'm like, I'll take a year off, try some business ideas, and if it works, it works. But yeah, I'm glad. Hey, you know what? I would have been laid off too. I would have been working for a while, but obviously because I'm 39, I would have been working for a while, but I would have been laid off during the depression, or the recession, sorry. Or you can call it depression, whatever you want. Whatever you want. But yeah, just on that last note, if anybody ever wanted to do a custom build, let me know. I can kind of guide you on what you need. But it is very expensive. But if you originally, I made the money, and then the reason why I did the custom build is I wanted a bunch of monitors. Why? Not because I wanted to trade more, I wanted to see more. So I just felt that it was important to explain to you guys. I didn't want to trade more, I wanted to see more. All right. I'm not taking any trades, but let me try and find something. This thing's working dirt slow because I got screen sharing. I so wish I would have bought the 4 gig video card instead of 2. Kudo was on watch originally. Let's see if that's in. $3:30. Yeah, it's late. Who's reporting today? Oh, go to Morningstar. It's pretty easy. You got IB. You can find it there too. Today's 7/14. Who we got? Let's see if it was updated. Just started. Info Systems reports after the bell. PPHM. That's a teeny little guy. SLP. Really nobody. Oh, and then tomorrow morning, I took out the screen, but tomorrow morning we have Citigroup, U.S. Bancorp, Wells Fargo, PNC, First Horizon. So tomorrow I'll be, browsing at those actual numbers. Wow, it's so slow. I'm clicking it. But yeah, George, you're right. I probably, even if I see the idea, I'll try to post it more often. Because you're right. A lot of times I won't do anything until I just, till I'm actually in it. But sometimes if I have time, sometimes I want a second opinion. Oh, Anmal caught me earlier on Tractor Supply. I like the channel trend. And he's like, yeah, it's a bit thin though. I didn't look over to the left. I hadn't seen what it did on the daily. So a lot of times you get a lot of good ideas from, somebody having a second set of eyes on there. As soon as I saw that volume, I was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? I didn't even look over at it. Yeah, that trade went right out the window right at that second. I was like, no thanks. Took it off the list. George, I have a Mac with a 32-inch monitor that works. I have 627-inch next to me. I never turn it on. Wow. You got loaded. ECLI. Yeah, and maybe I'll get on like another time, and since I hadn't really been paying attention to a lot of these names while I was chatting away, I will I will get on another time, and then I could kind of talk to you guys about what I'm looking at right at that exact moment, like, you know, for mid-afternoon trade. So I'm usually in after lunch. I'll usually do one or two. Again, I stayed out taking a lot less trades. Jeez, I just looked down at the time. I hadn't realized I was chatting away for that long. So anyways, hopefully the takeaway, hopefully something I could, you know, taught you guys as a trend channels is something I look at so much. But yeah, I'm done. I'm kind of going through. Anyways, gang, I'm done. I don't know how to log off on here. I think I just close it. But if anybody's got a question, let me know. But there was a bunch asked. Appreciate the questions. Hopefully I answered them. Feel free to, if you ever need anything or you got a question, be like, you know what, Chris, I didn't ask you this, and I don't think you didn't answer my question, or I still don't understand. Feel free to email me or hit me up on here, or hit the general rule up, or send me an IM. Anything you need, I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities. Hopefully, I got your questions in and read into them enough and answered them completely. Hopefully, I didn't leave any questions on the table where I didn't fully answer it. Okay, glad everyone enjoyed. I hadn't realized the time. I actually had fun. I was not nervous, but I was a little nervous. I didn't really have too many things to talk about. But once you get chatting away, it kind of just all comes out. I literally had 10 little subjects scribbled down on a sheet of paper to real quick to talk about. But once you get chatting, you get all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you know, talk about this, or why this setup worked, or this one didn't, or why you like this, or why you like that. But yeah, if anybody's got any questions, again, just feel free to ask. I'm going to log off here. I'm not taking any more trades. I'm done for the day. And again, if I see some good setups, I'll ask for the mic, you know, afternoon, after lunch. I'll be like, hey, gang, I got some pretty good setups I'd like to discuss if anybody, you know. So I'll grab the mic if I see some stuff. But it's been fun, gang. Again, hopefully I answered everyone's question. Anything's better than your talking about cars. LOL. All right, gang. Good chatting with you guys. Hopefully everyone did well today. I literally only have one trade.